Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to What Are You Painting Now? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Genestealers and their in-game history, or fluff if you would. The first encounter with the Genestealers, and in fact any Tyranids, was well before most people believed, during the Age of Apostasy. An explorator fleet entered the Tiamat system and quarantined themselves there after discovering that all of the hostile flora and fauna in the entire system shared a hive mind, thereby ensuring that these creatures would not be able to escape the system and infect all of the Imperium. Some say they may have saved the Imperium themselves, but who knows? Next up, we have the first official encounter with the Genestealers, which was with the Blood Drinkers and Nova Marines respectively. They conflicted on the Death of Integrity, a massive space hulk, where they fought each other over what should be done with the Genestealers. The Nova Marines were supported by the Adeptus Mechanicus, who wished to take all of the space hulk and the precious STCs which were contained within. In the end, the Blood Drinkers decided to ally themselves with their fellow brothers, but still questioned the riskiness of such an endeavour. They were successful, however. Next up, we have a very short entry with the Stonecrowd Infestation, one of the first Tyranid infestations we see in the 31st millennium. It was led by the Exorcists attacking the Stonecrowd world, destroying the Genestealer infestation. Now, once again, you see how the Genestealers and much of 40k's lore is portrayed. Very short and sharp, but this may be for in-game reasons. It may be because the Exorcists believed if there was ever a shadow of doubt as to whether they had wiped them all out, then that world may fall to the Inquisition. So sometimes the inhuman Space Marines seem more human than the Imperium itself. Next up, we have possibly the most human of the Space Marines fighting the Yumgraal Genestealers on the moons of Yumgraal. The Salamanders fought a bloody 2-year campaign exterminating this threat. This was when we first saw the Yumgraal Genestealers, originally described as leech-like. However, that may be due to their feeder tendrils. Unlike their other Genestealer cousins, their feeder tendrils drain all blood from their victims, and this is how they survive, and no other way. But it cost the Salamanders much, and showed the risk that the Tyranids truly possessed. Alright, next up we have the Gravlax Incident. So, this is where the Tau and Imperial Guard joined together to fight the Tyranids. It was discovered by a joint investigation that the governor was actually a Patriarch Genestealer. This shows the intelligence of the Genestealers. Unlike their rather blunt force high fleets which lead them, they strike surgically, taking out the leadership of the Imperium and the other forces they face. This was discovered by Commissar and the Tau force, and of course they destroyed the Patriarch. The Tyranid High Fleet was soon warned afterwards, and fighting soon ensued. Next up, we have the Munda Incident. Now, this is where Commissar was almost assassinated by a genestealer cult. Now, with these assassination attempts, the commissar defended himself and then found out that once again, the ruling aristocracy was corrupt. Once again, we see how the genestealers operate. They go for the highest pinnacles of society. However, in some other instances, we see a completely different tactic with the genestealers, as we did with the next one, the Goron Valley Defense. Now, this is where we see genestealers truly used as one of the most efficient troops within a hive fleet. Now, they weren't sent ahead, but instead, this hive fleet flung asteroids along with mycetic spores at the troops below. However, in these asteroids, they left many presents, such as trigons and raveners who would lay dormant within. But it was the genestealers who proved to be the biggest menace. They were organized rather than the blunt force instrument the rest were. So once again, we see that more strategic angle from the genestealers. The Imperium won that day, but at the cost of 1,000,000 men. Next up, we have the cleansing of Duragon 13. This is where a Dark Angel strike force was led into an ambush by a group of genestealers, and they would have been able to destroy the entire strike force if it was not for the quick action of the Ravenwing, who managed to destroy the genestealers' broodlord, which in turn made the entire colony disorganized. Now, there is a very famous story with the Deathwing. However, I was not able to obtain dates. The Deathwing gained their colors by exterminating all of the genestealers which had gone to one of their recruitment worlds. This is why the Dark Angels no longer recruit from a single world. But since I couldn't get the date for it, I didn't add it here. But I thought I'd add that interesting tidbit. And finally, we have the last incident. This is the Salting of Gomorrah. A space hulk which was captured by Orc genestealer hybrids was smashed into the hive city of Gomorrah as a planet killer weapon. There was only one survivor. However, this was not the true intent of the genestealers. No, this was merely to allow them to land, making it appear as if that was the cause all along, that they were using this massive space hulk as a suicide weapon, but they remained. And soon came the rest of the invasion. Alright everybody, that is the short history of the Genestealers, and it gives you a bit of the in-game background of how they operate. I think that they're a really interesting Xenos critter, and I hope you enjoyed. Alright everybody, I will see you later. See ya!